Hello everyone. Welcome back to this dilemma debated session. In this series of sessions, we are focusing on those controversial topics in our medical field and trying to give some clarity regarding the pros and cons or the merits or demerits about that particular issue. So in today's session, we have yet another uh, dilemma, especially for the budding doctors. That is, should doctors use brand names or the generic names while prescribing medicines? Right? So, so in this session, we have two very energetic and enthusiastic new doctors joining us, Dr. Srishthi and Dr. Vishal. Both are from Vinayaka Krishna Medical College, Salem, Tamil Nadu. Both are working as interns now. So Srishti is also our finalists of surgery case presentation competition national level recently held. So welcome back, welcome to both Vishal and Srishti. And the ground rules of this debate would be initially both Vishal and Srishti gets 3 minutes each to do the opening remarks about your side. Okay, so Vishal will be talking for branded medicines, whereas Srishti will be talking in favor of generic medicines, right? So after that, we'll have the rebuttals. Okay, what are the what counter arguments for the other you will present, and then we'll try to conclude as much as possible at the end. Is it okay? So once again, welcoming all the active members and the well-wishers of White Army. We shall start this discussion with opening remarks by Dr. Vishal. Over to you, Vishal.
Good evening, sir. Hello, Srishti, and good evening to everybody who's present here. So we are gonna start. We're gonna talk about should doctors use brand names and generic names, and I'm gonna talk about brand names. So prescribing brand name is not a very personal opinion, but I would say it is more about it's a more patient-oriented thing. It comes for familiarity. It gives the patient the trust. And towards a doctor's side, I believe that with experience, doctors are well known to the brand names, and they know how much does a brand name work and how much of its effect comes to a patient in its outcome. So, and also I would say that generic name is may have a lot of variation, but when it comes to critical diseases, I could say epilepsy or some thyroid issues where the dosage of medicines should not vary much. And at that point of time, brand names create more reliable outcome and in a more quicker way. And towards patient, a lot of patients, even when we take our relatives, even though I am a medico, if they are used to a certain brand name, I go to a pharmacy and I get them the same generic name, but with a different brand. They don't believe me. They say that you're bringing a different medicine. Will this really work on me? So at that point of time, I believe that brand name has a better uphold there, where the compliance and the trust within a patient helps better.
Okay,
So
that's
I
a
believe that generic name will also vary from manufacturer to other manufacturer. So brand name has better familiarity and compliance towards the patient.
okay. We understood the what the gist of what's your presentation, Dr. Vishal. Thank you for your the opening remarks. Now, can we have a opening remarks by Dr. Srishti?
Good evening to everyone present here. So I will be talking in favor of using generic names, and I'm going to tell you why. So I prefer that doctors should generally start using, because not many of them do it these days. But I feel that we should start using generic names because generic names are about more than 50% cheaper when compared to the branded names. So that's like a point that I can say, that generic names are actually cheaper. Another thing that I would like to say is generic names provide us with a global standardization. So once I've given with a generic name, the same drug that is used over here can also be used with the same generic name in any other international country or anything like that. So I feel that global standardization is also very important when it comes to prescription writing, because that is where patient safety lies. And another thing that I would like to add upon is that brand names, though they are different, I feel the generic names provide us with more bioequivalence. So it is basically more efficient for the patient. It helps the patient to get cured very easily. Also, these days, the WHO as well as many national medical councils are advising us to start using generic names in their practice so as to ensure that there is standardization among all the patients and the doctors across the country, across different treating physicians, as well as what we require, that is like the treatment for the patient. The increasing cure rate for the patient is also being applied when generic names are used. So I feel that there is a strong need for the use of generic names in prescription writing by doctors.
So with this, what I understand is Vishal is telling that brand means trust. We rely more with the branded things for anything, not just for medicine. That's what he's telling. Whereas Srishti says, whatever it is, how much you trust, whatever it is there, if you're not able to afford it, if everyone can't afford to it, then what's the use of having it? Right? That is a Srishti's counter. Both of you have done well, really. So what Vishal would say to, she says is cheap and best. So health is cheap and cheaper things are important, or the really best ones are required. Vishal, what do you say?
I would say brand names ensure quality, sir. Uh, do generic name have equal quality? I don't think it has. Is it, Srishti?
When you speak about quality, it is a valid concern, like quality is required. But what I'm saying is not to avoid generic names. I'm saying that brand names can be used, but it's not like you should completely avoid generic names. We can start giving out in generic names, provided they have to be overlooked with proper regulations. So this regulations must be done, this quality check must be done, for which we have many organizations like the FDA and the WHO, which ensure that though it is given out at a cheaper rate, though it is given out in the form of a generic name, these organizations should strict their rules in such a way that the quality check is met. So
Okay.
that's what I
Now,
think.
you both have your theoretical perspectives, right? You think this is better, that is better, that is there in your mind. But as a practical, from a practical perspective, from my experience, I would pose some challenges to you. In reality, what happens? Okay, Vishal says, like, okay, they're of course of very good quality. Yeah, I agree with that. They undergo a lot of research. In the companies invest a huge amount on research and quality regulations, everything. That's why they are costly and they are so famous. But now that I have given with the best of intentions, I have prescribed a branded medicines to my patient. Okay, and I antibiotic I prescribed for 5 days course, and in the pharmacy he says it's 500 rupees, and my patient is not able to buy it. Okay, he takes only 4 tablets or 6 tablets and goes home. Fortunately or unfortunately, within 2 days, his whatever symptoms gets better. But what happens if he takes the half the doses or this thing, So how good it is? I have given the best of the medicine, and but he is not able to buy it, then there is a chance of developing resistance in the future against these medicines and all. So, what you would suggest for that, Vishal?
Sir, as you said, it will lead to resistance, but maybe we could start a program with help of the government and aid some brands, some well-known established brands under the government and help the people. If
So see what happens, the quality and the price doesn't go, like they go hand in hand. Okay, if you want a good quality thing, means the price will be, of course, it will be more high only, because the investment is huge for that. Anything, the you need a service like a government, like what to say, a private hospital, and the charges should be like a government hospital. That may not be possible, right? So that's the issue practically. Even I want to give best of the best quality medicines, but all my patients may not be able to afford it. Then what's the use of giving such branded medicines? You understood, no? On the counter, Srishti, I would ask you now. I have written two challenges for you. One thing is I have written a generic name, generic medicine I have written. Okay, but what happens when the patient goes to that pharmacy? He will give some medicine, okay, out of his interest of this thing, where he gets maximum profit, and give some local or which is of not good quality medicine to the patient. So ultimately, blame will be on whom? The patient doesn't understand what is branded, what is generic, and all those things. Patient only believe in the betterment. Okay, even if he takes that medicine for 10 days, patient is not getting better. So ultimately, the doctor is blamed. Okay,
Yes,
that's
sir.
one concern what we are having. Okay, because there's no counter, like what to say, proper control or restrictions over this. If I write something, that pharmacist has all the what to say. As a doctor, I can't decide what is best for the patient. Instead, a pharmacist or a third party decides what to be given. So how good it is, one thing. Second thing, when we go to a cloth shop or when you go to the hotel, do we look at the price or do we order what we like the most? For one dosa in Salem, one masala dosa, we give 250 rupees and eat nicely and come back. Do we ask the rate, which is the cheapest one, or you give me that dosa? Do you tell like that, or you tell which is the best? You give me that. If
Sir,
so, for hotels or the cloths or anything, if we want branded cloths only, also we want branded shoes, we want branded watches. So they're not of necessity. Okay, these are not items of what to say life saving. But when it comes to the health, why we compromise? Why we compromise on like for money or some quality? Why we compromise the quality? Okay, why can't we give little more extra money to maintain that? Like see, Vishal said, there are some conditions where bioequivalence is very, very important. We have to maintain the same dose of medicines. So why can't we think that way, Srishti?
sir, I understand your point. Obviously, quality is important, patient safety is important. That is what we work for. But I feel like this is something that we should probably train the pharmacist on. First thing, and the second thing, again, I would like to say from your point that that is why brand name should not be used, because that pharmacist will indirectly work for the profit of a single pharmaceutical company. That is why even if we are writing any generic name, he's still going to be giving the same brand name that he has, probably favoring a particular company. So I'm saying that just not about prescription. If the drugs itself are started to send out in their generic name itself, then this problem will not occur. So there will be bias when it comes to giving out the drugs to the patients, as well as in prescription writing. And like you said, quality is what is important. So this quality check again should be approved by the regulations, by the systems that we have, by our government. And once this is done, I feel that the best of the care will be provided to the patients.
What about my second point? Why can't we like pay something extra for our health rather than giving it somewhere else? For popcorn, you go to the movie, okay, and there is this big one box is given and like with some this thing, so 250 rupees, and you don't ask the bargain with them, don't ask for a cheaper this thing anything. You just pay 250 rupees and take it, that 5 rupees worth one. So with medicines, why this kind of bargain?
Then again, I feel it comes in the perspective of the patients. If the patients are able to afford that, then yes, obviously they would want to they wouldn't mind giving a higher price to get a better quality drug. But like I said, generic names also helps in providing equity, so equal access, equal healthcare to all the patients, irrespective of whether they can afford it or not. So again, when it comes to sending out generic name medicines, writing generic name medicines, all of this bias can be ruled out, because it will be affordable to the patients, as well as there will be equity of healthcare maintained in the patients, and there won't be any particular influence on any pharmaceutical company.
Sure. Vishal, in many Western countries, it's that they use generic names only. The doctor can't decide. Okay, he'll just write this antibiotic is required. Okay, the pharmacist will formulate the medicines and they dispense. The pharmacist, he has all the authority. So in India also, you see, I write one prescription, one branded medicine, but patient may not get that medicine, but even after searching in 10 medical shops. It's a very much inconvenience to, okay, I believe in certain brands and I write that with a good intention only. But it may not be available in all the brands, may not be available in all the shops. So at the end of the day, patient will suffer loitering all around for that one particular medicine. Okay, my doctor has written this for me. This must be the best. But even after searching in 10 medical shops, he's not getting that. So is it worth it? One thing. Second thing is there are so many when we write like brands or some even with a generic also it can happen due to some handwriting issues or some brands confusion. Okay, it so happens that they are not able to recognize or read out our prescriptions. They just see 40 mg there. Okay, they can't read out the brand names. Okay, it's so many times happened that I have prescribed antihypertensives. Okay, 40 mg, telmisartan 40 mg, for example. Okay, a branded name. Okay, and the pharmacist has given some pantoprazole 40 mg. Okay, he just in 40 mg and given pantoprazole. Okay, so because it's a commonly used one, and after 1 month, patient comes back and tells that my symptoms are the same. I ask him, "Have you taken the medicine?" "Yes, sir. And promptly I have taken the medicines." "Okay, show me the medicines." Okay, when I check that, it is what is that? Pantoprazole. Pantoprazole, if he takes for years together, also his blood pressures will not come down. Yes or no? So these are some practical problems. So instead, you write clearly in capital letters the generic names. Okay, these kind of and whatever available in his pharmacy, whichever, irrespective of the brand, he will give. So it is a lot of convenience for the patients as well as this names, the confusions. You know, there's one brand called Pizza for piperacillin tazobactam. Okay, injection. It's available in the brand name of Pizza. So if you write in the prescription Pizza, where the patient will go, whether it will go to the pharmacy or to the McDonald's, like what is it, Pizza Hut. You understood? These are some issues with the brand name. So what's your take on that, Vishal? But nice name, no?
Uh,
Name. Piperacillin tazobactam named as Pizza. Huh? There are so many. I can give you examples like that. Okay, Vishal.
so, when it comes to the first question, I feel we doctors and with patients, I think pharmacists also play a major role there. They have the role to make sure that the patient is having the correct dosage and correct quality of medicine, even though the medicine is not available. It is their responsibility to make the patient understand and let them know that this is not there. And instead of this, we have this brand, and it is of the same generic name. So you don't have to worry, and it'll make sure you the disease or disorder or the symptoms which you have will relieve, and the outcome will be the same as the first brand. I think training the pharmacist, as Srishthi mentioned, would also help in this. And when it comes to the second question, we hold a responsibility, as you mentioned, sir. I think it is necessary for us to write it in capital letters, make sure the patient understands what we have written, and they don't take the different medicines, sir.
Srishti, what do you say about this?
Sir, I feel his perspective points are correct. So from this, we can also understand that just prescribing and treating the lie with doctors alone, it includes a lot of regulatory committees, it includes pharmacists. To ask, sir, is that regarding standardization, international standardization. Now, if I am prescribing some tablet, if I'm writing it in a brand name, and probably if that person is traveling elsewhere, would he be able to find that over there? Automatically, what do people do? They type it out in Google, they find out what the generic name is, and then they find an alternative for this. So I feel that in the process of this, if it's any other chronic illness or something like that, it's fine. If it's something that has to be noted of, then I feel that the patient care is also being is having a hindrance at this point. So what does Vishal have to say about that?
There is one problem with the generic medicine, Srishti. That is, they are not having combinations of medicines, like very unlike a branded, what happens, the combinations are very less as far as I have seen. Okay. Multivitamin, if you want to prescribe, for example, what you'll write for a multivitamin tablet? Can you keep writing for each and every patient?
Right.
B1, B2, is it possible to? I tried this once, but I could not sustain that. Okay, just writing multivitamin, I don't think so. That's also possible. And sometimes even the combinations, when you want to give, for example, for cough and cold, maybe I give levocetirizine with montelukast. Okay, writing this is how much time it will take and how much energy is required. And there that combinations may not be available. For example, cough syrup. There are 3, 4 constituents are in a cough syrup. Is it really possible for you to write all the ambroxol with dextromethorphan with levosalbutamol? Is it better to write that with 3, 4 constituents in the generic names, or just like one brand with LS or some DX? Okay, so that's the one. The writing the prescription also, it's a very challenging. Second thing, since there are so many combinations are not available, patient end up having 5, 6 tablets in the place of one tablet. You understood, no? Instead of the brand one tablet is taking branded, he ends up taking 5 generic tablets. So you think that's convenient for the patient?
Yes, sir.
You understood? You got the question?
Yes, sir. So you mean to say that there is a hindrance in patient compliance because of increasing a number of tablets that they are
Yes,
taking?
yes,
And
yes.
also on one side that it will be difficult for the doctors, us to keep
Right.
writing the generic names again and again. So I feel that if there are like any minor formulations, it will affect the patient's outcome. But these kind of disorders are rare. So probably in these conditions, we can give them with a subnote saying, do not substitute, like give this alone. This patient needs only this. You cannot substitute this with any brand. So such kind of extra decisions can be given by the doctors if the patient really requires it. And another thing, when it comes to patient complaints of taking multiple tablets rather than just taking one, I feel that ultimately patient care is what is important. So if they do require so many tablets, then they have to take it. Probably one drawback is that we don't have combination of tablets when it comes to generic names. But I feel that like in other perspectives or in other aspects, when it comes to affordability and when it comes to better patient care, I feel the generic names are better. Also, doctors, it's going to be a little difficult for us to write the generic names completely every time. But obviously, once it comes into practice, there's no going back, I feel. We
Okay.
also look for better patient care. So we wouldn't mind writing it in capital letters. We wouldn't mind writing the generic names completely.
If it's helping the patients. Correct. You're right. You're right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Vishal, you want anything to rebut her or anything counter arguments on your favor?
As Srishti mentioned, I would say ultimately it's the patient's outcome which is necessary for both, even the patient and us doctor. Even though generic name shows the standardization, and as Srishti mentioned, for critical things, maybe we could use brand names, which is not substitute, which shouldn't be substituted because it will affect the result of the outcome. I mean, result of the patient. And for maybe things which, as we mentioned, maybe to change if there's a change in location or places, maybe generic names would help.
Okay.
Can you come again?
What's Srishti?
Am I audible?
So can come again? Just come again.
Srishti, you're not audible clearly. Can you please keep it horizontally, your video? Yes. Yes. Tell me, what's Srishti?
So can you come again with the question, sir?
No, I didn't ask any question. I was asking any counters by Vishal.
Vishal, can you come again with your counter? It wasn't really audible.
I was just telling that
He just
brand
agreed with
names.
you. He just agreed with you. At the end of the day,
Yeah,
what he's telling is generic is okay or the branded is okay, but there should be equally standardized. That's what the outcomes in naming. If we are ready to do anything for the patient's benefit, but ultimately he's little concerned about the quality of the substance. Okay, so if it is standardized, if it
yes,
is properly regulated, okay, and made uniform, this thing, then it can be written. He's telling you that's also correct. Okay, even I'm also of the same opinion. Okay. So first, let me hear the concluding remarks by you both. Then I'll just try to conclude the same. Okay. So, Srishti, I want you to conclude first. What's your final take after discussing the Vishal's part also, his presentation also? What do you think the final, the best would be for a
Sir,
doctor as well as a patient? For the patient
speaking from
perspective, what's the best? What's the doctor's perspective? What's the best? Yeah.
sir, from either perspectives and taking in account Vishal has told, I feel that when it comes to patient oriented, they would prefer brand names because it is more familiar for them, like he said, and we have availability of combinations in brand names. But I feel that medicine is not just about a brand, but it's about the molecule that we are giving the patient for the better outcome. So, a brand name is probably going to just profit one pharmaceutical company, but I feel that a generic name will obviously profit millions of people when it comes to saving lives. So, I would like to conclude and give my closing statement that generic names provide better strength. It strengthens the public health and it also ensures equity. So, it ensures that no one is denied with any treatment. It is affordable to all, proper and better, and the best of healthcare is provided to all people. So, and especially in a country where affordability is a major aspect when it comes to healthcare, I feel that probably generic names do have a better thing. So, in no way are we opposing combinations, or in no way are we opposing any innovations or newer ideas that is being brought forward. But all we would want to do is to remove the barriers and to strengthen the regulations that are already present so as to ensure that quality treatment is given to the patients.
At an
So when
affordable cost. Correct.
accessibility is everything. So we have to ensure that no matter how we speak theoretically, practically this has to be accessible to patient so as to get effective and safe healthcare to all. That's what
Correct.
I would like to say.
Correct. Good. Very good. Vishal, you finally yield to Srishti, or you still ascertain whatever you said?
just like we spoke, sir. I think ultimately it is patient who is more important than anybody over here. So I would say brand names gives more trust, more quality, more like the outcome, the performance, the result which we know, which we want will be attained by the single
Predictable. It's
brand
called predictable outcome. Okay. It is
outcome.
not the better
Yes,
outcome. It's a predictable outcome. You have been using this same molecule, one molecule you have been using for many years now. You know, from your experience, you can predict, okay, if I give this antibiotic or this the antihypertensive for this patient, this will work this way. This will be controlled in within this way. So it's a same molecule you have been using for so many patients. Now you know the results already and you can predict the outcome beforehand. So it's a predictable outcome is possible when you use the good quality same product. Okay. Vishal, anything else?
and also when it comes to cost, I agree that the cost is high. As Srishti and you were mentioned, I think the accessibility is something which is more important to the patient. We can't put patient's life in just because of the cost. And at the same time, we cannot compromise quality and the predictable outcomes as well. So maybe we can provide newer ideas. We could bring out more regulations to standardize the prescription writing to a more better ways for the patient to have non-negotiable outcomes.
Okay, yeah, understood. So I would like to, from my side, uh, see this topic is a very complex one. This debate is a very complex one. I understand it can be taken anyway, and it's up to individual choice. Once again, nobody can say this is the best, that's the best. But I feel, see, ultimately, any cloth, what you're wearing, it's all prepared in one place. Okay, it's all prepared in Mumbai, in Dharavi. Okay, if you have heard. Okay, or in Tamil Nadu, in one cotton factory, all your material cloths are stitched. But then they go to the company. There they just put their seal. What that symbols are there, no? Horse, lion, crocodile, whatever the right, wrong, all the symbols are there. Okay, then they put and keep their fancy numbers as their MRPs, prices, offers, and then they sell it. Why that symbols become so? This thing means they invest so much on advertisement. They have enough staff to be paid, and so much of investment is involved there. So that becomes very pricey, those items. But other ones, the generic ones, where not any promotional activities, advertisements are not involved. No, not much investment is there. So they are available at a very nominal fees. Even the medicines also same. All these medicines are produced in the same factory, be it branded or generic or whatever it's say. Okay, it's produced in or Himachal Pradesh or in some factory. It's all produced as per my requirement. One company X says I want 1,000 strips of this molecule. Tell me sartan. Then it is produced and sent to that company. Okay, and see, when I'm paying more in that, some quality difference will be there definitely. Okay, I require this much purified sample for this much. The company gives the orders. Okay, accordingly it's not that I'm saying all are same. Okay, all are of the same what to say quality or the essence. Okay, there will be some discrepancy, but it's prepared all in the same unit factory. That's what I mean to say. In the cloth also, in the cotton also, there are so many varieties. You understood? So many standards are there. So some standard variation is there, but all prepared in one place. Then the medicine will come to the company unit. There they put that nice packaging, all those things with the brand or things. Then they're sold at a higher price. So what I mean to say is the extra cost in the medicines for the branded ones are mainly because of the lot of extra investment in the say in the form of advertisements, the activities, research, all those things are involved. That's why they are pricey. You understood, no? It's not that they are of much higher quality. That's why they are priced high. No, not so. Okay. So ultimately, what we understand from the both, if you look at the pros and cons, the best practice generally favors the generic prescriptions due to very significant cost savings. Like already Srishti mentioned, they are very, very cost effective because in a country like developing countries like ours, like I made my first opening remarks, even if I write the best medicine, if the patient can't afford it, or if he takes 2 medicines home instead of 10, then what is my sole intention is not served. Okay, what I before prescribing even a single tablet, I make sure that patient is willing to take, is compliant, and is affordable. I take 5 minutes extra in explaining him why he has to take the tablets for 5 days, even though he symptomatically gets better within 2 days. He has to complete the course. Why he has to do all this, why he has to take BD doses, why he has to take TDS doses. Everything I'll explain to each and every patient. Although it's more time consuming, more it takes a toll on my energy, everything. Even then, I make sure that I explain everything. I try to educate my patient. Okay, so generic medicines, they're cost effective, as well as I just mentioned, like I mentioned there, the efficacy wise also they're not bad. Okay, even if you strictly control the quality, this thing, their efficacy also good. But the clinical judgment, the patient preferences, everything, we can't generalize things. We can't generalize each one norm for everyone. Okay, so depending on the condition, the patient preferences, some drug characteristics which molecular you are using, we can what to say prioritize. Okay, like Vishal mentioned, this is a very critical patient. I don't want to take any chance. The patient is in ICU. Patient is in the starting stage of the sepsis. Now, initially, I use some low quality antibiotics. On the patient fully blown out sepsis he comes with, then I start with the good branded ones, good quality ones. That's not possible, right? From the beginning only. So in such conditions where where you have some like what's judgmental errors, or when you are in doubt which one to use, then go with the branded ones which are sure about the quality perspective. Is it okay? So ultimately, it's not about the branded or the generic or anything. Patient has a lot of trust in you. He comes with a lot of faith in you. So we have to fulfill that. So what is main is not the medicines, but the mean of medicines. That is communication. You might have heard or you'll witness it soon in your internship. 75% of our patients get better with the just by talking with them nicely or with just 2 pats on their back. Grandma, you don't have any problems. Just you're good. You're doing well. Just 2 pats on their back, they'll get better. Okay, so many medicines are just like placebo. They are okay. I have seen. I had patients with 5, 6 medicines, antihypertensives, uncontrolled. They're coming to me, and I pacify them, I console them, I convince them, and reduce the tablets and send them home. Even with 5 antihypertensives, they are the BP is above 200, and after coming to me, I reduce the tablets to 4, 3, and the BPs comes down to 140. What does that mean then? Okay, other doctor would have put 6 tablet, but what I did, even the BP is 200, I put reduce 1 or 2 tablets. See, ultimately, these are the practical experience you will go through in your practice. Okay, so ultimately, to avoid this, 3 to 4% percentage of deaths in our country is because of prescription. What is say misreading. Okay. So they give wrong medicines. This is the cause for 3 to 4% of the deaths. So to avoid all those things and to increase the patient convenience in availability and all, over all the counters, you can write generic names, preferably in capital letters, so that there won't be any confusion. What I do in my practice personally, I write my brand of choice, which is both affordable as well as having good quality, which I trust. And in the brackets, in the below that, I also write the generic name. So, and I explain that to the patient. Okay, see, this is the good one. Okay, if it's possible for you to buy, or if it is available, you get this. If not, you can go with this generic name. I've written that any brand or anything you are having, you can take it. Okay, so ultimate solution would be this, I feel. Okay, so one particular, instead of some hey, acha hai, this company is good, instead of some movie what hero recommending one brand and one doctor recommending one brand, it's a lot of difference. Okay, how can that is in our country, a movie hero or heroine says this medicine is good, then that's well taken. If the doctor suggests the same, then it's called some propaganda they are doing. So all these hypocrisies are there. We have to live with it. So ultimately, I say it's up to the communication between you and the patient. If they trust you, if they're affordable, you can write anything and everything. But if they can't, if you, with the good intentions, you have written a good medicines, if they're not able to buy it or afford it, then your sole intention is maybe missed. So go with the patient's convenience. So better to write both. Write it in the one brand also. Even the meanwhile, you can add
Generic name as well.
the generic name also. So with that, we shall conclude. It's a very good informative debate. We having these sessions not to fight among the topics or the between the two friends. Instead, we want to give some clarity over a debatable issue. Okay, so what are the pros and cons? Now, see, we have seen the both sides, and relative conclusion also we have derived. So one who is watching this video as a new doctor, so he will get more better quality, or some clear idea, so which he can follow. So that was the intention behind these kind of sessions by White Army. And this topic was solely chosen by Srishthi herself, and she has only suggested. And thank you so much, Srishthi, for being actively participating in all our initiatives. And I also thank Vishal for active participation. Let's keep doing this, and let's keep educating our colleagues, friends, and also patients. Looking forward for much more educative sessions like this. Thank you so much.
So thank you so much for the opportunity, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Aditya, shall we end this? Any questions from the audience? I think there's Satvik. Any comment from Satvik?
No, I joined quite late, but I'll watch the complete from the beginning in the YouTube.
Okay. Then if you have any
Yes.
doubts, you can put it in the
Yes.
comment section. Okay.
In the YouTube, yes, sir. I
Yeah, thank
also
you.
saw few questions in the comment section of YouTube in our video, जो rural service दो तो.
You can put your answer there only. Okay, you can
Yes,
reply.
sir. Yes, that's what, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.